This is how I learned Turkish in less than a year. I already have a heart. Sorry. So let me start from the first thing that happened with me in Turkish. So basically, what happened was that my brother and I decided to come to Turkey, and we decided to take everything and move to Turkey all over at once. And that decision basically took like 6 months or something. So that was my first interaction with Turkish. I was like, okay, I need to learn Turkish. And before that, I had never even thought about Turkish or about learning Turkish, and I did not know a word of Turkish. At the very beginning, I started with some private lessons. I took I think 5 or 6 hours of some private lessons with a guy, and we started working on the Istanbul book, the first one, of course. And I mean, that was not going so well because I was not interested in Turkish at first, because I was like, I don't even like this language. I don't know anything about this language, and I was just not invested in it, to be honest. And I didn't even try. I didn't even study. I just kept going to the classes without any effort to actually learn this language. So that's how I started picking up some words and some very general things. For example, numbers and some greetings that you would need. So basically, after a while, I started studying on my own because the classes weren't going so well. I was not so comfortable in that class. I mean, the teacher was okay and he was going well, but I was at a very basic level and I needed to memorize words and I needed to study on my own. That's why it was not going well. So I started taking I started buying some books. I started with Turkish in 90 days. That was a very wrong decision. And it did not work well for me. I started studying the Turkish in 90 days book. Basically, it just gives you some basic information about anything that you need to know. I mean, it's a peek in every subject, and you will know a little bit about each subject and nothing about it, actually. So that was a wrong decision. I studied that for a while, and at this point I was still in my own country. I had not moved to Turkey yet. After a while, I mean, my Turkish hadn't gotten that good, but I had to move, so I moved to Turkey about almost 2 years ago, maybe more, I don't know. When I came here to Turkey, I realized that the only thing I could say to anybody was merhaba. I mean, I could not say anything to anybody. I had not learned any practical phrases or things that could help me while I'm talking to the guy at the supermarket or something, and I could not contact any human being for a good 2 months or something. When I came here, I immediately started working on Turkish again. I started watching some series. I started watching some tutorials of the grammar and the phrases and anything that I could get my hands on, because I could not find any friends. I could not talk to anybody. I was very isolated and I felt very alone at that point of my life. So I told myself, okay, this needs to happen right now. I need to learn Turkish. I could not have any kind of communication at all, and I need to learn it ASAP. After that, I desperately tried to find some friends, and I tried to talk to strangers, I mean, as much as I could, so I could pick up some words at least, or get a bit familiar with this language. And I basically, after that, did not do any oral working, as you might say. I did not read a book. I did not listen to any lessons after that. I just started living in Turkey and I started learning Turkish from the people. The only thing I started at that point was Duolingo. I started it as a source of words that come into my brain, and I would see the words and I would get familiar with the words and I could understand what they mean, and that was actually very helpful. I mean, a lot of people trash on Duolingo that it doesn't work and stuff, but I mean, for me it was very good and it worked because I knew the words, I had heard them, I just didn't know what they mean and I could not use them. I just learned how to use them in Duolingo, and I learned how to pronounce them, and I learned how to change them in the tense that I needed them to be. And yeah, that was basically the help I got from Duolingo. And after a couple of months, I mean, it must have been like 3 or 4 months, I finally succeeded to find some friends. Yay! I found some friends and I tried to talk to them. I mean, I tried to talk English to them and they would talk Turkish to me, and it was a very perfect balance, actually, a very good standard of communication and exchange of information. And after just a bit, maybe like 1 or 2 months, the flower of my Turkish started to bloom like crazy. I started talking Turkish in like, I don't know, suddenly. I didn't even realize that I had started speaking Turkish. Each phrase that I would say, my friends were like, "What? Was that you?" And that's basically how I started speaking Turkish. Now, when I say I started speaking Turkish suddenly, I do not mean that I started talking C2 level Turkish without any mistakes or something. No. I just started talking as much as I could say what I need or what I want right now. And basically I count that as enough for myself, because I could finally understand what people are saying and I could tell them what I need or what I want. And that was basically, I'm running out of breath. That was basically enough for me at that point. Even now, after these many months and these many years, I even might make some mistakes in English. You know, when I'm talking, I might just slip some very obvious grammar mistakes when I'm talking. I mean, that could happen. Of course, it could happen in my Turkish as well. And I'm still working on Duolingo, and I'm still listening to something Turkish, or for example, watching a movie or something every day. That happens every day. Or at least I try to talk to somebody in Turkish. Even if it's myself and in my brain, I try to do that every day. In my opinion, this way, learning Turkish, where Turkish is spoken, Christ, learning it this way is one of the hardest ways that you can learn it, because basically you will be totally alone for like a year, and that's very problematic, I think. I mean, especially for me, I could not handle being alone really well, and not many people speak English in Turkey, and even if you find them, I mean, you could not communicate with them very well because you don't know their culture, you don't know how they speak, how they do things, you know? You don't know how they live. That's how you could not communicate very well with them. Or at least that was my case. Of course, every person's journey is different. And I do not recommend this way because, as I told you, I was very lonely. I could not talk to anybody for a long, long time. And I didn't have any friends. If I could start from the beginning, what I would do is take my private lessons very seriously and continue them. I mean, at that time it was very uncomfortable for me to talk in a class that was just me, and I mean, it was just a professor and I could just talk to him. There was no other students to make any mistakes or something, and I was like, okay, I have to be perfect, and I could not be perfect, so I'll just don't speak at all. I would just study and don't give a shit, don't give a blah blah about that stuff, and take it very, very seriously. I would have taken it very seriously at that time, and I would memorize much more words and phrases that I already know, because many times I would know the verb that I need, I would know the structure of the grammar that I need, but I would not know the singular word that would make the sentence. I would memorize so much more words. And these words should not come from anywhere, in my opinion. You should just listen to the language as much as you can and find the things that you hear the most and search those things and learn the meaning and memorize those words. I think these lists that exist that say, for example, 3,000 most frequently used Turkish phrases or words, those could not work for everybody. Those should be personalized, and the person who should realize which words they need is just you and you yourself. You just need to contact the language as much as you can and then find the things that you will need and that you will use. Basically, some things are obviously same for everybody. For example, the greetings and the very basic stuff, but that's like 200 words or something. The rest should be found by you. And at the end, I said all the things that I had, and my last advice to you is that just start learning the language. Just start doing what you need to do, and don't overthink it. Don't watch 10 YouTube videos about how to do it and how to start. Just start. I mean, put on some Turkish movie, or I don't know. Not it couldn't actually specifically be Turkish. It could be anything. It could be any language and or any activity. Just start doing it and don't overthink it. Everything goes better when it comes to you naturally. So just start talking, and as much as you can start speaking, and as much as you can start listening, and that's basically it. So have fun learning Turkish, and don't overthink it. Don't take everything too hard on yourself. Go easy and you can do it. I'm sure. I trust you. See you in my next one. Bye.